back to Blog of Beck. Today is my first DIY video. So today I'm going to be showing you how to make these 3 cards. So these are all watercolor cards, but don't feel daunted by that. They're really easy to make. And basically watercolor looks good no matter what you do. Hopefully. So these are the 3 different cards. And I'll be showing you how to make all 3 of them today. So let's go! Okay, so for this one, we're going to be using the masking fluid, which you can get at Michael's, or I actually ordered mine on Amazon. And then the circles, we're going to try to find one that fits perfectly on the paper. So I just try a bunch of different circles from around the house. So trace that out. And the hardest part is thinking of what exactly you're going to draw. Do you do text? Do you do a drawing? But once you've figured it out, you just draw it with pencil first. So once you have that all drawn out and it's exactly the way that you'd like, you can take the masking fluid, and you're always supposed to wipe off the side of the masking fluid jar. I never do, which is why it's such a struggle to open it. So I would recommend that you definitely do. Then you just follow your lines that you already drew and paint with the paintbrush with the masking fluid exactly where you drew already with the pencil. I would suggest using a different paintbrush than what you paint with, because sometimes it gets stuck with the masking fluid and it's kind of like glue on the paintbrush. So have a paintbrush that you use specifically just for painting with the masking fluid. So then all around our circle, we're going to cover it with the masking fluid. So just paint really loosely, just go around the edge of the circle. All done. Okay, so masking fluid is actually kind of pricey, and if you don't have that just hanging around your house, this other card will work too. So I use painter's tape. There's the thicker kind, which I have around here somewhere, but I couldn't find it. But I bought some really thin painter's tape. So again, draw out what you want, and then you can take the painter's tape and put it down exactly where you want it. I sometimes erase my pencil lines just so that there's a faint imprint so I know where to put the tape, but that it doesn't show later. So put the tape down exactly where you want it. You can make circles by just taking the tape and moving it around. You're going to want to make sure that all the tape is pressed down really well. We'll put that one aside. And we'll go back to the one that we painted with the masking fluid. So the masking fluid should now be dry. So we're going to do the watercolor now. So what you can do is just go down in straight lines, but I like to stick with the actual circle. So if you want to do like a sunset, this is how you would layer it with the ombre. So you go the lightest color and then to the darkest color. But I realized that I actually had wanted to go dark with this one, so I'm just going to add the colors back on over top. So you can drop water right onto it, which tends to move the ink around and it looks really cool. You can also sponge with paper towel and give it a different effect. There's lots of different things. If you add alcohol or salt, it gives it really cool effects too. Okay, so now we're going to put that aside to dry. And I made mine really wet and it's not a problem. Just make sure that you get some thick watercolor paper. For our next one, we're just going to paint right on. Again, choose your lightest color first. So the wet on wet effect is when you have wet paint and you add more water or you add more wet paint. So then it kind of swirls together and smudges, which is really good if you want to create that perfect ombre. Okay, let's put that aside to dry as well. So for the next one, I'm going to be using watercolor pencils. So watercolor pencils work the same as colored pencils. So for this one, I'm just going to draw out exactly what I'd like. So I'm using text. It's nice sometimes you can look up the fonts that you'd like, or look up a sample of some typography on Pinterest, and then follow that, or get some inspiration. The text I'm putting is, "You put the super in supercalifragilisticexpialidocious." I had that on a t-shirt once as a kid, and I just thought it was the greatest thing ever. So I'm just drawing and coloring it in with the pencils. So I've found that the better you color it in, the better it turns out once you add the water. I probably could have colored mine darker. I used a really light touch when I colored it this time, but I would suggest coloring darker if you want darker color. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is adding the water right onto our letters. So it doesn't really spread out that much when you add the water. So basically where you've drawn it is where it's going to be. So the watercolor pencils are nice if you want control. When I first started with watercolor, I only used the pencils because I didn't like how watercolor was hard to control. But now I've kind of embraced that side of watercolor. Okay, that's all finished. So we can put that aside. It's pretty much already dry already, but... So we can go back to our other ones and start peeling off that tape. So that tape comes off really easily. Just peel it right off. It's not going to have as sharp edges as the masking fluid, but it's still pretty good. Yay! So my card got a little bent, so I'm going to stick it under a book later. Okay, so this one, the masking fluid, can actually be kind of difficult to peel off. So I try with the end of a pencil or the end of a screwdriver or whatever to kind of get that edge going, and then you can peel it using your thumb or your nails. So it's nice if you draw the text at least one line that connects to both sides. That line at least will be easier to pull off because it'll come off with the edges. Okay, they're all done now! Yay! Look how pretty they look. Ooh. This one's definitely my favorite. I've gotten really into like the little circles and things. All done! Hey, so I really hope you enjoyed that DIY. If I did anything too quickly and you'd like to slow it down, maybe have some printed instructions and pictures, you can find that on my website. So So in my last video, I had said that I was selling on Etsy as well as on Society6. My Etsy shop was and is still stocked, but my Society6 account wasn't. It now is. So you can get my designs on phones and on camera cases. I guess that's the same thing as phones. And clocks and laptop cases and shower curtains and bedspreads. You can basically get on anything that you'd like, even pillows. So you can check that out. Also, if you'd like to see my intro video where I talk more about who I am and what the rest of this blog is going to be about, you can find that here. Okay, bye guys. Much love, Beck.